Get more on this and bring in political analyst Phar Kim Beng. Thanks so much for joining us here on TRT World. I want to start by asking you, how have the Asian markets reacted? I'm just seeing that the Nikkei has fallen to a 6-month low. What more can you tell us?
Well, I think that what is foremost in the minds of many people around the world, including Asia, is whether the performance of the stock market in Wall Street can affect the rest of the world. Personally, I don't think so, because Japanese economy is still doing well, even though there are certain uncertainties whether Japanese economy will also be affected by the Sino-American trade war. But overall, Japanese economy is doing extremely well in light of what will happen next year when they have the Tokyo Olympics. So that's one perspective from Asia. And in addition to that, there is actually no shortage of money in the supply chain. The Japanese government pension fund, for example, has about 13 trillion US dollars in its reserves. And the Japanese private pension fund has about 1.3 trillion US dollars in its reserves. So in the event of any further economic uncertainty, as long as a country or a company is capable of working well with the Japanese, the likelihood of warding off the impact of any impending recessions are likely to be minimal.
Okay. And tell us, how much of what we're seeing in the US is driven by that US-China trade war?
Well, the fear of the US-China trade war is the constant fluctuation, whether the tariff war is happening or not, because now it has been pushed back to December 15. So the uncertainties are coming from all these uncertain elements and the deadlines that keep moving. In other words, the moving of the goalposts. So that's the main uncertainty, whether the negotiation will be going forward or whether the actual trade war or the tariff war will happen as both sides have threatened over the last few months.
And Phar, tell us, you've spoken about your views about the Asian economy and particularly Japan, but tell us, how worried are you about the health of the global economy?
Personally, I'm not worried at all, because the US economy is actually performing quite well. Traditionally, US economy function on a fluctuation cycle of peaks and valleys of about 48 months before they enter a deep recession of sort. But the American economy or the US economy has been growing at a very strong and consistent rate over the last 119 months. And it will enter a cycle of 120 months next month. So the reason why the Trump administration is trying to reduce the rate of the Federal Reserve, or urging the Federal Reserve to reduce the rate, is because he wants to keep the growth constantly growing so that he can enter the next electoral cycle next year in good form. So the US economy is actually performing very well. And Asia that understands the US economy will not be unduly worried about the recessionary signals that are coming from various quarters.
All right. Phar Kim Beng, thanks so much for breaking that down for us and speaking to us here on TRT World.